What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like always, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hit that notification bell. Today we're going to be doing a quick book review over David Irons, his book Don't Go to Wheelchair Camp. Let's take a look at that cover. This is 80s slasher goodness in a book. He hits the 80s vibes perfect. It's like you're watching one of them cheesy 80s horror movies from back then, and it's perfectly done. He does a phenomenal job. The writing is very good. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10 just because it does lack sustenance that all 80s slashers did. Like, you know, the best 80s slashers are probably 8, you know, you would rate them an 8 out of 10. You know, and that's really good. I mean, this book was really good. This was actually my second reread of it. I read it when it first came out a few years ago. I want to say 2021, I believe it came out. I read it then, I liked it then, and I still like it today, and I'll probably read it again in a few years. It's that good. It's really good. So, basic premise, you know, if you've ever seen an 80s slashers film, or you've read an old 80s slasher book, then you know the premise. You start off with your intro. You got a pair of twins, Terry and Tammy. They suffer a vicious accident. It's horrible, terrible. And so then you flash forward. What you should know about Terry and Tammy: their mom is basically submissive to the father. The father's an abusive alcoholic drunk. You know, I will give it this. It was kind of a bad, you know, I don't, no. You know what? No. The father was a bad drunk. I was going to say that the character persona was giving off like these kind of vibes, but it really wasn't. Dude was an abusive, terrible person, drunk. So, no reason to divulge into left field there. Anyway, so all that goes on. Flash forward, the only one left alive after the vicious accident is Terry. She's now in a wheelchair for the rest of her life, and she's a teenager, 15 or 16, I believe. And she is getting shipped off to wheelchair camp by her parents because it's a free venture. Of course, if it was not free, she wouldn't be going because her father isn't into things that aren't free. He's a user and an abuser. So anyways, that's pretty much it for her parents' part of the story. Insert her now. She ends up getting on the bus, heading to wheelchair camp. You meet the cast of kids that are going to be the characters in the book, mostly on the bus. You get another new kid named Tommy. He's a Native American boy from Chicago, I believe. He also has a bit of a dark past, like Terry here, as you can see her on the front cover of the book. Actually, I don't think that's Terry. I think that's one of the characters. But anyways, all these kids are in wheelchairs, so they head to the camp. On the way to the camp, you know, they meet a total douchebag, this guy named Leonard, basically, you know, tormenting the kids. You know, there's a lot of derogatory terms used in the book, a lot of racism. Not that the author is any of those things. He's portraying how people acted, and you know, you have to write the characters the way the characters are supposed to be written, people. So if you're not keen on violence and gore and stuff like that, don't ever read it. What are you doing here? I mean, what are you reading these kind of books for? Look at the title. You know it's going to be bloody. Bloody and gore, it delivers. It's pretty sick. Well, some of the kill scenes are pretty sick. I'll give it, if we were rating on kill scenes, it'd be like a 9 out of 10, almost perfect. It was really good. Some good classic kill scenes in the book. I would watch this movie straight up, even if it was a low budget. I mean, I love low budget B movies, so what are you going to say? What are you going to do? But anyways, so gets to wheelchair camp. She's realizing right away there's sort of like a hierarchy there. The counselors are, you know, pretty much idiots. The two leaders, the old dudes that run the camp, they're doing their best, but they're not succeeding. And then she meets the other girls at the camp. They're basically ran by a total bitch, you know, if I'm going to be honest. Her name's Mercedes in the book, and she's exactly how those kind of kids act, you know. Super snobby, you know, daddy's got all the money, she gets what she wants type of attitude. You've seen it in all the old movies. You know what I'm talking about. So all that goes on, and then all of a sudden, people start dying. You know, there's a lot of conflict leading up. First, you know, people start dying. So the kids are freaking out. You know, who's doing all this? And, you know, there's nowhere for them to go. They're all, you know, in their wheelchairs, and all the people that aren't in wheelchairs are getting picked off one by one. And so a lot of the kids end up getting shipped out of camp when news hits the parents. So then you're running towards the end of the book now. And like I said, this was going to be a quick review. The book is super short, but the book is super good. I really had a great time with it. Like I said, I probably should have gave it a 9 out of 10, but you know, we'll save those for the really super vintage horror books I'm going to be diving into, because I might find some gems. But this is a gem. I mean, it's dang near perfection, 80s perfection. It's super good. I mean, the dude does a great job. David Irons is a phenomenal author, and I have another one of his earlier works somewhere behind me that I'm going to read at some point. And he has Don't Go to Wheelchair Camp 2 is out now, and another book by him that I'm really interested in, My Ouija Boyfriend or something like that. I'll probably be reading all his works. I really love this book. Like I said, it was my second time through it, so I had a great time with it. But yeah, no, the book is good. And like I said, it's 80s slasher, and your cast of characters are all bound to wheelchairs besides a few of the you know, non-wheelchair users, I guess you would say. So really good. The book is solid. I mean, I enjoyed it. I read it in a day, pretty much, you know, less than a day. Had a good time with it, and you know, I'm all back on my horror spill. I'm loving it a lot. So the poll closed, and y'all voted for Cardinal of the Kremlin. I'm excited for this one too. It's probably going to end my month of March with this one. Day of shooting this video is March 28th, 2026. So this will definitely, I'll probably, you know, if I, you know, put all my time into it like I did the Forgetting Moon, but I'm not. And then immediately after that, I'm going to read Chopping Mall, the novelization by Joshua Macmillan. This is, you know, a 30-minute read. It's super short, and I know I'm going to love every minute of it. I love the movie. It just missed my top 10 favorite horror movies. I need to rewatch it to see if I need to adjust that list, but, you know, it's 80s slasher goodness with a twist. There's a little bit of a twist in that one. So, the other poll is up, by the way. If you want to go vote, the other poll is up. If so far Star Trek's winning, which, you know, I'm good if y'all want me to read Star Trek. Y'all know I love Star Trek, so, you know, click that. But Don't Go to Wheelchair Camp by David Irons. Super solid book. Absolutely loved it. And I hope this video gets a few views, so people will be like, okay, where do I get this book? You could get it on Amazon. You can find him on, he probably has some websites. He's on Facebook and stuff. He is from the UK, but I'm sure he would send signed copies. But yeah, the book is good. If I had one complaint, it's the size. I do not like the how most indie authors, you know, the size of the book. I don't like that it's like a sheet of paper size, you know what I mean? That I'm not into, but everything else, great. I mean, it is 80s goodness, slasher, super peak slasher vibes. I loved it. 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. Like, you can't base these ratings how I rate my Star Trek novels, because that's a different scale of rating system for Star Trek. These horror books are going to be, you know, a different kind of rating system. And so 8 out of 10 for these horror books are, you know, that's solid. That's great. So just so we're aware, if you're wondering, you know, why wasn't it higher if you loved it so much. For horror, this, you know, this was awesome. You know what I mean? There's going to be some books I'm sure I'm going to be reading in the genre that I'm going to just, you know, hate and trash completely. Maybe even DNF, because, you know, horror's hit and miss. Not all of it's good. So you gotta dig for the gems. But that's the video today, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I hope y'all check out the book. So like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hit that notification bell later.